Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, you clicked on this video because you want to know what's really going on with the Epstein Files, right? Yeah, I've been getting flooded with messages about this, and honestly, I tried to stay away from it. Not because it's not important, trust me, it absolutely is, but because everyone and their mother has already covered it. But here's the thing, people are still confused. They don't get what these files actually are, why they're dropping now, or what any of it means. So buckle up, because we're going down the rabbit hole today. Who was Jeffrey Epstein? Alright, let's start with the basics. Who even is this guy? Jeffrey Epstein went from being literally nobody, no degree, no clear job, nothing, to rubbing shoulders with presidents, princes, and billionaires. We're talking Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Bill Gates. The list goes on and on. According to reports, Epstein made his fortune doing tax stuff for billionaires. But that's not the whole story. Not even close. This guy was a social spider. He collected people, powerful people, and he had something they all wanted: access. But here's where it gets dark. Real dark. The leverage game. See, Epstein didn't just make connections. He made leverage. And if you understand leverage, you understand everything about this story. Intelligence agencies and power players don't just collect information. They collect control over people. Sometimes that's positive stuff like money or connections, but other times, the straight-up blackmail, secrets, dirt, the kind of stuff that ruins lives if it gets out. For Epstein, that leverage was sex. His properties and parties were basically honey traps where powerful people could do things they'd never dare do in public. And once you're on camera doing something you shouldn't be doing, boom, he owns you. This is why Epstein was so tight with Trump back in the 90s when Trump owned the Miss Universe pageant. Think about it, hundreds of young, beautiful models all looking to make it big. That's an endless supply of potential victims for Epstein's network. But it wasn't just about adults partying too hard. Oh no, this monster was trafficking children. By 2005, young girls were coming forward saying Epstein sexually assaulted them. We're talking 14-year-old girls. 14. Federal investigators found at least 36 victims, some as young as 14. And in 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to procuring a child for prostitution. You'd think he'd go away for life, right? Wrong. He got a sweetheart deal and served barely 13 months, mostly on work release. Let that sink in. A convicted child predator walking around after 13 months. Here's the important part. After 2008, everyone who stayed in contact with Epstein knew what he was. He was a convicted rapist of children. So when you see names like Noam Chomsky, Elon Musk, and others in these files after 2008, they knew. They all knew. Now, staying in contact doesn't automatically make you guilty of a crime, but it raises some serious questions about character, doesn't it? Despite being convicted, Epstein kept going. In 2019, federal agents arrested him again, this time on sex trafficking charges. But before he could go to trial, he was found dead in his jail cell, officially ruled a suicide. And here's where the conspiracy theories started flying. Because of course they did. The guy who had dirt on the world's most powerful people dies under suspicious circumstances right before trial? Come on. But the story didn't end there. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime, was still alive. She's the one who recruited and groomed these girls. In 2021, she was convicted and is currently rotting in prison. Good. What are the Epstein Files? So what exactly are these files everyone's talking about? They're evidence. Massive amounts of evidence collected during criminal investigations. We're talking flight logs, emails, photos, videos, contact lists, court documents, all stored in the FBI system. Some of this stuff has leaked out over the years, heavily redacted of course, but most of it locked away until now. As more victims came forward and public pressure mounted, these files became a political issue. And guess who promised to release them during his campaign? Donald Trump. Despite, being in the files himself, Trump's allies, including Kash Patel, spent years claiming the FBI was hiding an Epstein client list and demanding its release. Then Trump got back in office in 2025, and Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News the list was literally sitting on her desk, ready to go. A week later, she released basically nothing, just redacted documents with no new information. People were pissed. The runaround begins. After the public outcry, Bondi demanded more from FBI Director Kash Patel. Months went by. Then in June, Patel went on Joe Rogan and said the American public would get as much as we can release. Translation: we're not giving you everything. In July, the DOJ released a memo saying they found no evidence to investigate anyone else and wouldn't release more documents. When pressed about what Bondi meant about files on her desk, the White House claimed she was talking about all the paperwork related to Epstein's crimes, not any specific client list. People across the political spectrum called BS. Democrats challenged it. Right-wing influencers like Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, the Hodge twins, even they were skeptical. Joe Rogan literally called it a line in the sand. The flip-flop. This started to frustrate Trump. In mid-July, he suddenly claimed the Epstein files were fake, created by Biden, Obama, and Hillary Clinton to hurt him. Wait, what? Remember, Trump and his people had been calling for these files to be released since 2015. Back then, Trump said about Bill Clinton, "He's got a lot of problems coming up with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. That island is really a cesspool." In 2023, Kash Patel posted, "I've been calling for all of it to be released. We must find out who pedoed around with Epstein." In 2024, Patel posted again, "Anyone else want to see the Diddy list that the FBI has but won't release? Like the Epstein Black Book?" At his Senate confirmation, Patel promised Senator Marsha Blackburn he'd help release the files. In May 2025, he told Fox News, "I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever." Even Elon Musk chimed in, saying Kamala Harris's billionaire donors were terrified of the Epstein list going public. And Trump's own son, Don Jr., posted in 2023, "Show us the Epstein client list now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags?" So Trump calling these files a hoax is absolutely insane. But even he couldn't stop what happened next. Congress forces the issue. In July 2025, Congressman Matt Rosendale introduced the Epstein Files Transparency Act, requiring the Attorney General to release everything within 30 days. Trump started deflecting. He said, "I don't understand why they're so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor. I don't understand the fascination." Then Kash Patel testified before Congress that Epstein acted alone and had no connection to trafficking victims to other people. Senator John Kennedy asked him directly, "Who did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?" Patel responded, "There is no credible information. None. That's a lie, by the way. We'll get to that." In September 2025, Representative Thomas Massie filed a discharge petition to force a House vote. The bill passed 427 to 1. 427 to 1. It was signed into law, but the DOJ still dragged their feet. Initial releases were heavily redacted. After months of delays, on January 30th of this year, they finally released approximately 3.5 million pages of documents. That's what everyone's talking about right now. And let me tell you, it's dark. What's in the files? These files reveal disturbing insights into elite networks, power structures, and patterns of abuse. It's overwhelming because there's so much. And here's the kicker, this is only half the documents. There's another 3 million pages coming. But what we've seen so far confirms that some of the conspiracy theories aren't theories at all. The idea that elites are engaging in violent sexual rituals isn't some 4chan fantasy. There are eyewitness accounts of dismembered bodies and disgusting, violent acts that the government has known about for years. One document that's getting a lot of attention is a 2009 email where Epstein replied to someone saying, "This is the way the Jew makes money and made a fortune in the past 10 years selling short the shipping futures. Let the goyim deal in the real world." There are also references to quotes from religious leaders making supremacist statements. This has opened up a massive conversation about elite networks and power structures that people have been called conspiracy theorists for mentioning. The cover-up. So what should you take away from all this? First, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi definitely tried to cover up these files. Congressman Rosendale has already drafted impeachment articles. Second, these aren't even all the files. Rosendale told Meet the Press, "The release is not good enough. If we don't get the remaining files, Thomas Massie and I are prepared to move on impeachment or contempt." Third, even Epstein's victims are angry. A group of survivors released a statement slamming the DOJ for exposing survivor names while protecting the men who abused them. Quote, "Survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected. This is a betrayal." The intelligence connection. Here's where it gets really wild. One FBI document reveals an interview with a confidential human source who claimed lawyer Alan Dershowitz was co-opted by the Mossad, Israeli intelligence. Dershowitz influenced wealthy students like Jared Kushner. Epstein was serving both U.S. and Allied intelligence, Israel. Epstein was trained as a spy by Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. The Chabad movement was working to co-opt the Trump presidency. Trump is compromised by Israel through Jared Kushner. Since returning to office, Trump has given Israel billions and pushed toward war with Iran. On the same day as the Epstein file release, Trump bypassed Congress to approve a $7 billion arms sale to Israel. Coincidence? You tell me. What needs to happen now? Look, the DOJ probably hoped this would be the end of it. But it's just the beginning. Every hour, people are finding more disturbing connections in these 3.5 million pages. The web keeps growing, implicating politicians, billionaires, actors, and elites across the board. Here's what needs to happen. 1. Release the rest of the files. 2. Open new investigations into people mentioned in the files. 3. Impeach Kash Patel and Pam Bondi for the cover-up. 4. Investigate Alan Dershowitz, Jared Kushner, and foreign intelligence influence over Trump. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. So what do you think? What are the major takeaways from these files? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. And remember, trust nothing, question everything,